only on Telesur.
Hello and welcome to Telesur. I'm Doris Polo in Quito, and this is From the South. Russia's Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov is in Venezuela on the last leg of his Latin American tour, having visited Cuba and Mexico. Foreign Minister Jorge Arreaza hosted the Russian minister at the Casa Amarilla, where he was welcomed with a song and dance performance. The two sat down to review the bilateral cooperation agenda and joint projects for the benefit of the peoples of the two nations. Shortly after, Lavrov met with Vice President Delcy Rodriguez and is scheduled to be received by President Nicolas Maduro. Discussions will center around the strengthening of the two nations' strategic alliance. Over the last 2 decades, Venezuela and Russia have improved their bilateral relations, signing hundreds of cooperation agreements in areas such as energy, the economy, technology, industry, and the military. In Mexico on Thursday, Lavrov held talks with the Foreign Minister Marcelo Ebrard. Russia and Mexico are keen to increase their trade, which is currently worth $2.3 billion a year, making Mexico Moscow's second trading partner in Latin America after Brazil. The two foreign ministers reasserted their support for dialogue and a peaceful solution in Venezuela.
We both think that a dialogue is necessary with the objectives to but as to change any regimen, this would be an imposure of foreign models. We have spoken of, we have heard calls from Washington that there are no options. And they are threatening on using every option on the table. They are organizing the provocation. But this is not our posture. This is not the posture of our Mexican allies. We believe in dialogue, and this way all parties can have the possibility to find a solution that are a win-win situation.
The fugitive Colombian Senator Aida Merlano, now detained in Caracas, says that President Ivan Duque is trying to kill her. Merlano arrived at the Palace of Justice in Caracas at her own request to give her account of her flight from Colombia and the electoral corruption scandal in which she is accused. She said she had evidence that implicated as many as half the members of Colombia's Congress in the buying and selling of votes. Details in this report.
The Aida Merlano case brought together Venezuelan, Colombian and international media. Venezuelan authorities had already stated that she had a large quantity of information and was willing to deliver it. So they held a special hearing. No one knew what she would say.
My desperation led me to make the decision to look for refuge in this country, as I am persecuted by the president of my country, Ivan Duque, with the intention to kill me following the leak organized by a leading political class in the country.
Merlano denounced a plot to kill her, abuses and a ring of corruption which implicates all Colombian presidents from Uribe to Ivan Duque. This led her to escape.
I was a witness to the high sums of money invested in these campaigns. They have been in charge of buying all the traditional political class in the region and are the largest contractors of the state and the largest financiers of the presidential campaigns of recent years. We could say approximately 20 years old here, long before the Uribe campaign or since the first president of Álvaro Uribe Vélez.
Merlano discovered $1 million operation within Colombian politics. She says she has a wide range of evidence in the form of video, audio, contracts, and public tenders, which implicate Colombian politicians.
I know the amount which was given and to whom it was given, and I also know what each congressman manages and how much was invested in each presidential campaign to receive bribes.
Merlano doesn't trust the Colombian justice system and fears for her life. She asked for help from the Bolivarian government to protect her and take the case to international bodies.
I ask the president of this country to please, this case must be taken to the international courts and bodies. Please help me because I'm the victim of the government of the Republic of Colombia, headed by Iván Duque.
A new political scandal for Colombia, this time looming over the Caribbean coast of Colombia and the Nariño Palace in Bogotá, with effects which could devastate the political class.
Meanwhile, Fox Senator Sandra Ramirez has called for the revival of an anti-corruption law following Merlano's statements.
Look, the very important statements Mrs. Aida Merlano is providing in Venezuela should have been given here in Colombia. Here, we need these statements so that we can begin procedures against the political class of the coast, especially since they are so closely linked to corruption. We carried out an anti-corruption consultation in which more than 11 million Colombians voted for a bill in favor of transparency in elections, transparency in state acts against the corruption in this country, and Aida Merlano is simply saying that this is exactly what has happened. She represents the political class of our country, and she had to flee to another country and even ask for protection there because here there is danger.
Now, the testimony of Aida Merlano caused waves in Colombia. Our correspondent Hernan Tobar reports from Bogotá.
The main authorities have not yet made any comment on the declarations made by Aida Merlano on Thursday, but some politicians close to President Iván Duque and his Democratic Center Party have been speaking. They say her testimony has been manipulated by the government of President Nicolas Maduro. The Minister of Justice said the intention was to smear Colombia's institutions as well as President Duque himself. The Colombian opposition, however, has said that all this was a well-known secret, that everyone knew about this electoral corruption. In the Congress, opposition parties had already raised the issue of relations between right-wing paramilitaries and politicians, which is what Aida Merlano was talking about. The Colombian media, especially those that support the government parties, have tended to downplay the story and not give very complete information about what Merlano said. They've rather concentrated on what she was wearing, what her hair looked like, how many guards were with her. So there seems to be an attempt to divert public attention from the substance of what Aida Merlano said. Nonetheless, it is clear that the Colombian public is interested in what she declared, which, as I said, was already partly known by many people here. You'll recall that the opposition parties had already asked the Attorney General to appoint a committee to go to Venezuela to question Aida Merlano. But the AG has 10 days to reply to that request and has not yet done so.
We'll take a short break now. When we return, we look at how Brexit can possibly impact the Caribbean. Don't go anywhere.
February 7, 1974, Independence of Grenada.
Innovation, science, the technological breakthrough and its influence in society.
Viajeros del saber, el futuro está aquí.
Atomen. Monday, only on Telesur.
The president of Bolivia's movement towards socialism party, Evo Morales, is appealing for peace ahead of the May 3rd elections and his bid for a Senate seat in the department of Cochabamba.
Hermanas y hermanos del pueblo de Bolivia.
Brothers and sisters of Bolivia, in recent months we have been witness to acts of violence. We thought that was all in the past, but the number of incidents of racism and discrimination has increased. We have seen how they have chased and beaten people up simply for their color or the clothing they wore or for being militants of a political party. Lack of trust cannot and shouldn't be allowed to take possession of our daily lives. The greatest richness of our country is in its diversity. We must build bridges of brotherhood. For these and other reasons, in my position as president of the MAS IPSP, I would like to invite the directors and presidents of parties, citizen groups and alliances, and candidates for president and directors of communication and the people in general to gather to make a great national accord to guarantee an environment of peace for our elections.
Staying in Bolivia, the de facto government continues to persecute leaders of the movement towards socialism party. Former government minister Gustavo Torrico was arrested and jailed on Thursday.
Without a date to present himself or make a statement, Gustavo Torrico, one of the most important leaders of the movement towards socialism in the Department of La Paz, was taken into custody.
The judiciary ought to be an impartial organ, fair with everyone. If they accuse him of sedition, I don't understand why the subpoenas for the father of Camacho, who has publicly said his father has gone to speak with police and military so that they don't go support a president elected by the Bolivian people. Where are they? I don't see even one process being carried out.
Torrico is being accused, among other things, of supposed crimes of terrorism, financing terrorism, and of sedition for statements which he made against the coup of November 10th. His colleagues of the Legislative Assembly of La Paz have said that this arrest is illegal.
Gustavo Torrico is protected by the political constitution of the state. Article 151 indicates that National Assembly members and departmental assemblies have inviolability for the duration of our mandate.
The movement towards socialism leaders said that if they arrest him for being a militant in a political organization, they'll be locking him up for life.
The problem is that they are arresting me for being from the MAS, and if that's the reason, they will give me life, and I have a serious heart condition.
The arrest of this leader is part of the scheme of harassment and legal persecution against the participants of the May 3rd elections. The candidate for the presidency for the MAS party has been formally accused and is being persecuted.
The campaign of persecution by the de facto government persists. It's persecution, incarceration, judicial action. You have seen that they didn't even want me to enter the legislative palace here to the assembly. The police didn't want me to enter.
The November 10th coup ousted the movement towards socialism. The de facto government, which is running its own candidate, has made clear its hunt for those who oppose.
Shifting gears now. Thousands of Central American migrants are waiting for their asylum requests to be answered at the Mexican border with the United States.
On the northern border of Mexico, images like these are common. Hundreds of Central American migrants are crossing into the U.S. to start their asylum process. Some of them have just arrived. Suddenly, they find out that they will be returned to Mexican territory to wait there for the response to their asylum requests.
I don't know why. Right now, they gave me this document to get an appointment to enter the country. This is the document that they're giving us to get us out of their country and send us back to Mexico.
According to Mexico's National Institute of Migration, there are 62,000 foreigners stranded in border cities. A third of them are minors, and most of them come from Honduras.
I really felt very bad, as everyone else did, when we realized that we were all being sent back. Every migrant wishes to be with their families and out of danger. Only the presidents know why they decide this.
It was a year ago this January that the US made unilateral changes to its migrant protection protocol, which makes it even more difficult for undocumented migrants to reach its territory.
Hypocritically, they're also benefiting. They support coup governments like the one in Honduras, and they say they won't accept migration. But they're quite pragmatic when it comes to the need for highly qualified and very cheap labor.
The Mexican Committee for Aid to Refugees has already set up help centers along the northern border.
They are not seeking asylum from us. They are seeking asylum in the U.S. Our policy is to respect and not interfere. But we are ready to give asylum to those who ask us, because they are fed up and don't have any other options.
So far, fewer than 50 migrants have requested asylum in Mexico. Most of them take the risk of crossing the Rio Bravo, despite the anti-immigrant policies that Donald Trump repeated in his last State of the Union address.
It has been almost a week since the United Kingdom officially left the European Union. There won't be any dramatic changes till the end of the year, the deadline for the UK to negotiate new trade agreements with its former EU members. But how will Brexit affect the Caribbean, a region that had major trade connections with the UK through the EU? On Thursday, we spoke about this issue with Earl Huntley, who is a former CARICOM ambassador to Haiti and foreign affairs expert.
The Caribbean countries are part of the ACP group, who have the Cotonou Agreement with the EU, which is at the moment being in the stage of renegotiation. So that relationship with the EU will continue under the terms of the new Cotonou Agreement. Where Britain's absence in the EU will affect the Caribbean is that Britain in the EU was a voice for the Caribbean, so that in terms of the negotiations, we don't have the kind of support of partner that we had when Britain was there. Now that Britain is out of the EU, the second aspect is really our relationship with Britain, because as you said, bananas and other exports go to the UK. So it means that the Caribbean countries will now have to work out a new trading arrangement, new trading relationship with Britain now that it is out of the EU. And one would hope that CARICOM as a body would negotiate such an arrangement with the UK. But I think they would still have favorable deals because they are negotiating together with the African and Caribbean countries, although they are separate EPA agreements. But I don't think, while yes, Britain's voice would help us, but I still think that we'll be able to get a good deal out of the EU, given our experience with them and the years of partnership with the European Union. Ironically, though, our trading arrangements with the UK, the preferential arrangements that we had from many years ago, were first affected by Britain's going into the EU, and those arrangements had to be adjusted when Britain went to the EU. Now that Britain is out, it means, of course, that those trading relations now have to be readjusted, both at the EU level and with Britain. St. Lucia exports bananas. St. Lucia is the only one left in the world exporting bananas to the UK, and they're struggling to maintain a hold in the market in terms of the volume of exports that send to the EU, to Britain. But the other countries, like Trinidad and Grenada, who export to the UK, I don't think they will be adversely affected if we are unable. Let me backtrack. The only way they will be adversely affected is if we are not able to get good terms of trade with the UK. And I'm expecting that, given our relationship with the UK, our relationship in the Commonwealth, that we would be able to maintain favorable terms with the UK.
Grenada's Spice Mask Corporation has retracted guidelines for its fancy masks following social media uproar. Earlier this week, the corporation issued regulations to bans which said it would not permit thongs, C-strings, G-string underwear, full body paint and wire bras above a D cup along the stipulated route. Many viewed the rules as discriminatory against larger women and called for a boycott of the event. The corporation's board of directors has since said they made amendments to the guidelines, which now states there will be no full body paint and zero tolerance for nudity and indecent exposure. Grenada's carnival takes place in August. Coming up, the UK and US are seeking to strengthen their bilateral relations following Brexit. Stay with us to find out more.
A review of the world news that investigates, incites analysis, and induces criticism, because every event has a context.
Pusimos el punto en ahí.
Dot in the eye. Saturdays, only on Telesur. Our actions have an impact on the environment. It's our responsibility to change for the sake of our planet. Let's be part of this transition. Watch, preserve, and protect your Green Zone. Wednesdays, only on Telesur.
Welcome back. Britain's current UN envoy, Karen Pierce, has been appointed the new ambassador to the United States roughly 6 months after her predecessor resigned over comments about President Donald Trump. Downing Street said Pierce would replace Kim Darush, who quit over leaked diplomatic cables in which he criticized Trump as inept and said the White House was uniquely dysfunctional. This appointment fills a vacuum as the UK and the US prepare for talks over a post-Brexit trade deal. Pierce is the first woman to hold the post. On Thursday, Spanish President Pedro Sanchez visited Catalan President Quim Torra at the Catalonian governmental palace in Barcelona. Our correspondent Joan Ortiz brings us the details of a meeting which is considered the prelude of more definitive negotiations.
We are here at the outsides of the Generalitat Palace in Catalonia, where the Catalan President Quim Torra and the Spanish President Pedro Sánchez just met, and also where Sánchez was welcomed with utmost honors. This meeting represents a prelude to the round of negotiations between the Spanish and the Catalan authorities, which is expected to start very soon, but it's not yet clear on what date. Torra's government has stated that the goal of these negotiations would be to find a solution and mark an end to the political conflict between Spain and Catalonia. They have also stated that every subject and option should be discussed, including amnesty chances for Catalan political prisoners in Spain and the right for the people of Catalonia to self-determinate. Anyhow, just before this meeting, Madrid has issued a statement that has lowered the expectations. In the letter, Pedro Sánchez advocated for political dialogue and the restitution of institutionality, but it also mentioned some terms for the relationship with Catalonia that were very far from what Catalan pro-independence forces are demanding. Also, one of the conditions of the Catalan government for the negotiation was for the Spanish government to stop criminalizing pro-independence political activities. Sadly, this has not been the case, since Sánchez's government continues to issue arrest warrants against Catalan pro-independence leaders, supporters and activists. We will be here bringing you the details of this meeting and also the upcoming official negotiation process.
Li Wenliang, the Chinese ophthalmologist who raised the alarm about the novel coronavirus, has died after contracting the pathogen himself. This places him among the 636 people killed by the illness so far, with almost 29,000 infected.
As of midnight on the 6th of February, the National Health Commission has currently received 28,985 diagnosed cases of the virus from all provinces, regions, municipalities, and the Xinjiang Production and Construction Corps. There are currently 4,821 acute cases, A total of 31,161 reported diagnosed cases, a total of 1,540 cases cured and discharged from hospitals, a total of 636 deaths, and currently, altogether, 26,359 suspected cases of the virus. Today, I would like to mention in particular that Dr. Li Wenliang of Wuhan Central Hospital in Hubei province has unfortunately died after full efforts to save him, after he contracted the novel coronavirus pneumonia while fighting the epidemic. The National Health Commission expresses deep condolences and sincere sympathy toward Dr. Li Wenliang's family.
And with that, we've come to the end of this news brief. You can find these and many other stories on our website at telesurenglish.net. For our viewers in Africa, remember you can find us on Starsat Channel 461 in South Africa and Channel 539 in Nigeria. And join us on social media. For Telesur English, I'm Doris Polo. Thank you for watching.
Para mantenerme saludable, yo corro.
To keep myself healthy, I study.
Για να διατηρηθώ υγιής, τρέφομαι σωστά.
Para mantenerme saludable, yo bailo.
Para mantenerme saludable, yo purifico mi espíritu a través del cuerpo. ¿Y tú?
Guide your body. Tuesdays, only on Telesur.
Innovation, science, the technological breakthrough and its influence in society.
Viajeros del saber, el futuro está aquí.
Ataman. Monday, only on Telesur.
Our actions have an impact on the environment. It's our responsibility to change for the sake of our planet. Let's be part of this transition. Watch, preserve, and protect your Green Zone. Wednesdays, only on Telesur. Follow the most important global events through a comprehensive perspective. With a team of journalists in 25 locations around the world to convey our